Kidding? Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get there.
Ooh, I love this song. I'm hung up in a grave situation.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello, and welcome to episode 241 of the Rotten Views podcast. We have what should be a very interesting movie for you guys today. As you can tell by the title, we are watching Schlock from 1973. It's a horror sci-fi movie. This week's episode for us is a first-time watch for us. Like we like to do on the podcast, I like to pick out movies I've never even heard of before, or never had a chance to actually sit down and watch, because it's my podcast, and I can do what I want, because, well, I'm the only one that works here, and I'm the only one that does the podcast, and I'm the only one that does all the editing, so, you know, I can do whatever movies I want to, but I want to hear your feedback as well, so if you want to see more comedy movies, or more action movies, or whatever it might be, let me know down in the comments below, because I would love to hear your feedback, because I want to do movies I've never seen before, but I also want to make content that you guys are going to keep coming back to each and every single week, you know, because that's the whole point of the podcast, you know, it's making content that you guys enjoy, making a community for us all to, you know, chat, and it's just to make fun stuff. You know, there's too much negative crap in the world these days, so we gotta have a little bit of fun every now and then. But before we get into the podcast episode at hand, let's do a little bit of housekeeping, like we like to do each and every single week.
Housekeeping?
Don't think you're sleeping.
Housekeeping?
Could you come back in an hour?
Housekeeping, you want towel?
More towels. Need sleepy.
Housekeeping, you want mint for pillow?
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
So like I like to say each and every single week, if you guys are listening to the podcast on Spotify, feel free to give it a star review, a star rating, whatever you want to call it. You know, you can give it a 5-star if you feel like it deserves it, or a 4-star, whatever kind of star you just want to give it. You know, if it's a 1-star, it's alright. We got that voodoo kit coming from Amazon Prime. Should be here probably tomorrow, and I'll put a curse on you, but that's besides the point. It's fine. If you want to give it a 1-star, go ahead, give it a 1-star. I don't have feelings to be hurt, okay? I kind of do have feelings that would be hurt, but that's besides the point. If you guys are listening on Apple or iTunes or whatever it might be, feel free to leave a review over there as well. And whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on, feel free to leave a review if that's an option. If not, just hit that share button. That share button does help out the podcast a lot. It gets us out to more listeners, and more listeners means a bigger community in general. So hopefully that's the end goal for everything. It's just to have a nice, big, giant community of like-minded people that all enjoy the weird, same, stupid stuff that I enjoy. And saying it's stupid, it's not really a bad thing. It's just, you know, it is what it is. I like a lot of bad, cheesy horror movies, so bad movies in general, so I'm hopefully making a good community of people that are like-minded like myself. Also, if you guys want to keep in touch with me a little bit more, make sure to check out all the links down below in the description. You can find us on all social media accounts at TyphinSide. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitch, we're on TikTok, we're on X, Threads. There's so many different social media accounts. I'm not active on all of them. I will say that I'm the most active on the Instagram and Facebook. So if you want to talk about anything, from horror movies to cartoons to comic books or artwork, feel free to hit me up on one of those platforms. With that being said, make sure to also check out the YouTube channel. We have a weekly gaming video that drops every single Wednesday on the YouTube channel. Right now we've been playing Gas Station Simulator. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you guys like the simulator games. I'm new to them, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. So if you want to, go check it out. New episode drops every single Wednesday. We're going to be doing that for the next couple weeks. If you guys get bored of the content, we'll switch it up a little bit. But like I said, we have weekly gaming videos. They drop every single Wednesday. We got various shorts over there as well, old episodes of the podcast, and the occasional live stream. We also go live on Twitch every now and then. So definitely go check that out as well. Make sure to like it, subscribe, follow, all that other fun stuff. And as always, if you're a new listener to the podcast, thank you for choosing this episode to be the first episode that you decide to check out this podcast. This podcast is spoiled from start to finish for whatever movie we're watching. It's spoiler heavy. That's what I'm trying to say. It's late at night. It's midnight. I don't know why I always do this so damn late. It's how I am. I got coffee though, so we're good. I'm planning on being up for the next couple hours. Sleep is for the weak. I am not weak. But yeah, like I said, if you don't want to be spoiled on a movie that came out in 1973 or any movie for that instance on this podcast, make sure to watch it beforehand because I will be spoiling the movie from start to finish. I talk about the movies from start to finish and hit all the points in between that interest me. So I don't want to hear any complaints if you didn't get the first warning. I'll give you another warning before the actual episode starts itself, but I just want to let you know now. If you're a returning listener, thank you for showing up each and every single week. I appreciate you so much. It means a lot that I actually have a good solid amount of weekly listeners that tune in each and every single week. It actually makes me feel good inside that you guys like to listen to me talk about movies and act like I'm kind of know what I'm doing, but I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm over 200 and some episodes into this podcast, and I still feel like this is the first episode all over again. But with that being said, let's start talking about the movie at hand. Like I said, we're watching Schlock from 1973. It's a horror sci-fi movie for an hour and 20 minutes. You can watch this on Apple if you want to rent it for $4, or you can just watch it for free on Tubi. I love Tubi. I think they're a great app. If they want to sponsor me someday, that'd be great. It's never going to happen. I understand that, and I appreciate it. And nonetheless, go check it out on Tubi. You get that ad here and there, but it's better than paying $4 because it's free. How can you go wrong with free stuff? This movie features a 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 75% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 4.3 out of 5 on Amazon.ca. Apparently, 73% of Google users have enjoyed this movie. The initial release date was 1973. It was in March as well, in case you know. But it also had a budget apparently of $60,000. The description for this movie, as read from IMDb: a small town is terrorized by the Banana Killer, which turns out to be the missing link between man and the ape. So we're at that point in time where we're going to talk about the director, the writer, and cast members. So this one's a little bit interesting because the director, the writer, and the main cast member are all the same person. It's John Landis, of all people. I'm sure a lot of people know who John Landis already is, but let's talk about a couple things that he's worked on. He was the executive producer for 119 episodes from 1990 to 1996 of a TV show called Dream On. He was also the executive producer for a movie in 1995 called Here Comes the Munsters. He's also the executive producer for 1985's Clue. As well, the producer for 1983's Twilight Zone, the movie. Also, something I didn't know, from 1977, he's in the Kentucky Fried movie from Trauma, where he plays TV technician thrown by gorilla. He's also in an episode of the $6 Million Man from 1974. And did you know in 1992, he was a lab technician in a Stephen King movie known as Sleepwalkers. I absolutely love Sleepwalkers. It's such a good movie. I highly, highly recommend you guys check it out if you guys haven't seen it. I think we might have done it for the podcast. I'm going to have to check back on that and see. If not, then that's definitely going to be added to the list and probably add it up a little bit higher on the list just because of how much I enjoy watching that movie. Alright, so now that we talked about the writer, director, and main actor in this movie, we're going to talk about the other person that we're going to talk about in this movie is Saul Kahan, who's playing Detective Sergeant Weno. Might have butchered that name as well. But he's been in a lot of different things. He's part of the additional crew in 1982's Blade Runner. He's additional crew for a lot of things. But also in 1985, he was part of the additional crew for the movie Clue, as well as in the additional crew for 1980's The Blues Brothers, as well as an additional crew for 1987's Spaceballs. As well, in 1986, he was a publicist for the Three Amigos movie. That's a great movie as well, and I just did that one on the podcast a few weeks ago. So definitely go check that one out if you guys haven't. If you remember correctly, I think that was my fastest growing listener count. I think I almost doubled the amount of listeners in one single day on that episode over all the other episodes I've done on the podcast, which I don't understand why. Maybe just because of who's in that movie. It's a good movie, not gonna lie, so I'm not complaining either way. Then we're at that part of the podcast where I like to talk about the tagline that's in the movie. This one's actually got a pretty long tagline. Man's missing link has just moved into the neighborhood, but is suburbia ready for schlock? But I think that's enough talking about the movie. Let's just jump right into the podcast episode at hand. So like I said earlier, if you don't want to be spoiled on a movie that came out in 1973, feel free to pause this episode now. You can rent it on Apple, or like I said, just go watch it for free on Tubi. You can't go wrong watching something for free with a couple ads here and there. Definitely highly recommend the app. It's got a lot of good stuff on it, aside from this movie. That being said, though, I'm going to be talking about the movie from start to finish, hit all the points in between that interest me. So if you don't want to be spoiled, like I said, this is your warning now. If you want, just sit back, relax, listen to me talk about the movie, and I'll either really make you want to go see the movie, or you'll just be happy avoiding it at all costs. I leave that judgment call up to you later on in the episode. So with that being said, if you're at home, get comfy, get some snacks, get some treats, get whatever you might need. Sit back, relax. If you're at work, hopefully this helps you get through the day. And if you're listening in the car, like I know a lot of you guys are, make sure to just keep your eyes on the road. Just get to wherever you're going in one piece, safe and sound. And we're going to get started on the movie right now.
Presents Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures. Tonight,
From the dawn of man comes Schlock.
A beast from 20 million years ago stalks the streets of today. A love stranger than King Kong. A monster more powerful than Godzilla. See, a small California town. Learn the true meaning of terror.
Bananas! Call out the National Guard.
This is going to be the best, son.
See the police and National Guard powerless before the awesome creature.
Hold it, hold it. You can't shoot like that's got Mindy.
Why not?
Can nothing stop it? Can anything stop it? First, birth of a nation. Then, Gone with the Wind. 2001, A Space Odyssey. Love story. See you next Wednesday. And now, Schlock. There is no place to hide. No one is safe from Schlock. 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 Schlock.
This movie just goes crazy and starts right out to a lady holding a mummy skull and screaming. Then we have some army guys shooting a cannon. Then we see like a military vehicles, and then we see some Navy ships. And then we just see the close-up of the ape face, the Schlock's face, as this narrator is talking over it, saying how we had these different movies back in the time, but now we got Schlock. And it shows a different image of Schlock, and then it just pops up with the title Schlock again on the screen. It's very cheesy and corny, but I like it so far. Then as the Schlock title font goes away, we see someone laying across like a kid's play structure, the one that like spins around. Is it a merry-go-round? I'm not sure if that's the technical term, but he's like, looks like he's dead on top of it as it's spinning around. Then we see feet hanging out from underneath it, and then we see another kid or young adult that's face down in the dirt as well, and we're assuming that they're dead as well as the intro credits are starting to roll in. As the intro credits are still coming in, we see the camera just panning around, and all we see is just a bunch of lifeless bodies all over the ground, all over the place, and you can still hear like the play structure equipment going. There's a swing going, and now it's like the morning time. We hear birds chirping, and there's just dead people everywhere. There's no blood or anything, just a bunch of people just laying on the ground. And then we see this detective guy, I'm assuming might be Sergeant Winu, and this other officer, and the detective guy's like, whenever I discover who's responsible for this, they're gonna be in some real big trouble. Then out of nowhere, this marching band style music just starts to play. A bunch of other officers start showing up to the scene, and then we see like medical guys who are now putting bodies, the dead bodies, into wheelbarrows and just move them around that way. Then we see one random police officer just sitting on the swing set, and he's reading a book And then we see news reporter Joe Putzman showing up, and he's there to talk about the most recent banana murderer killings, because that's what they call him. They call him the banana killer for some reason. Maybe because he leaves banana peels at the crime scene. I don't know. I haven't seen any bananas yet, so I'm not really too sure yet. But yeah, at one point in time, while Putzman's talking, one of the medical guys is pushing a body in a wheelbarrow, and he stops because Putzman's in front of the washrooms. So he goes into the washroom, just use the John quickly, as we see this dead body just hanging out of the wheelbarrow behind Putzman. And then while Putzman's talking, one of the guys on the radio team comes over and gives him a note. And apparently they're having this competition, and whoever can guess the right amount of body count, because it's a body count contest, about how many bodies are going to end up in garbage bags, because they got to put them in garbage bags to take them back to the morgue so that the body parts can be figured out. So I guess they're trying to make light of it. So it's definitely a horror sci-fi comedy. There's definitely a comedy aspect to it so far. And then we see this guy who's still kind of alive on the ground, but he's not really making much sounds other than, breathing, trying to breathe at least. And Sergeant Wiener's like, come on, you gotta talk to me, you gotta let me know a little bit of things, you gotta speak up, okay? I can't hear you, I can't make out what you're saying, because the guy's not really talking. And then out of nowhere, he just reaches up to the sky and just screams bananas, and then he drops dead. Then Putzman goes over to Wiener, who's still on the ground with that dead guy, with a bunch of other workers around him. And Putzman's like, how about you give our viewers some, reassuring thoughts, let them know that everything's gonna be okay, and we're gonna get through this. And Wiener's just like, no, I'm not, because it's not going to be fun. So we finally hear Putzman say the guy's name, and it's not Wino, it's actually Wino. My bad. I'm horrible at pronouncing names. It looked like it was spelled that way. My bad. But at least it's early in the podcast. So we see these 4 teenagers going down the side of this hill, and they're talking about this dance, and one teenager's like, we at the committee can't decide if we want it to be Hawaiian or, trippy psychedelic style dance party, so we're gonna have to figure it out. And then the one guy's like, sure hope Mindy's eyes are better for the dance. And the one lady's like, you mean blind Mindy, who's been blind ever since her accident? He's like, yeah, well, hopefully her eyes will be better by now. Also, they don't look like teenagers at all. They look like they're in their late 20s to early 30s, but that's besides the point. So then they're talking about, the dance and whatnot. And the one girl's like, oh, Mindy doesn't have to worry about it. She's been dating this guy, but she's been blind the whole time. But he's the hunkiest guy ever. And the one guy gets jealous. He's like, oh, wow, thanks. Glad to know I'm nothing but chopped liver. And she's like, I wouldn't even be worried or wearing your pin if you, didn't look, handsome. And she's holding a skull. And she just realizes, so then she looks down and she screams and throws it. And one of the guys, Billy, is walking around being like, hey, look, there's bananas all over the place. I made the banana killers around her. And he's walking around, and he falls in a giant hole in the ground. Billy's all excited now that he's in this hole. He's like, oh, it's a far out cave, man. You should really come check this out. And then the other 3 of them keep asking each other what they should do, but they keep repeating it over and over again, being like, oh, I don't know, Billy. What should I do, Mandy? What should we do, Amanda? And it's like, make up your goddamn mind. Then next thing you know, we see them in the cave together with Billy, and there's like a severed body part off to the side. Billy's like, you know what? There's gotta be something inside this cave, and I'm gonna find it. And the other guy's like, hey, wait, that trail of blood leads off in the darkness. We don't know what's off in the darkness. He's like, don't worry about it. I got a flashlight. I'll just go check it out quickly. And it's like Billy had to fall down in the hill to get inside the cave, and now all of you guys are down inside the same hole, inside the same cave. It's like, how the hell are you guys going to get out of said cave if you fell through a hole and dropped into the ground to get into the damn thing to begin with? Billy's got his trusty flashlight in hand. He's walking down through this cave system a little bit more. He's seeing, like, bones all over the place and banana peels all over the place. He literally gets to this person, and we just see their face, and they're literally buried in the ground. But he doesn't think anything of it, so he's like, just gonna walk a little bit farther, and then he hears some sounds, and then next thing you know, we see the Schlock just backhanding Billy in the face, and then we just see the Schlock just pounding him, and Billy's screaming for his life, and then the other guy and the 2 girls are just standing where they fell through the cave, and being like, wonder what that sound is, and then one of the girls is like, Billy, are you alright? You good down there, Billy? You're screaming for your life, but I'm just curious. Are you okay? So then the one guy's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go see Billy. I'm sure everything's fine, girls. Girls, you stay here. He walks down, and then we see the Schlock still beating up Billy. So then the guy comes up behind him. He's like, excuse me. And the Schlock pretty much just like, you seriously? You're gonna ask me a question? I'm here beating this crap out of your friend. So then he backhands that kid, and we see him drop to the ground. And then next thing we know, we see the 2 girls with the skull talking to Sergeant Wino. out of nowhere. I don't know how they got there. Wino's getting ready to, set up a bunch of police to go to where the cave entrance is. That way they can investigate it. Also, something I want to mention on Detective Wino's desk. He's got a giant, 1.5 feet, maybe 2 foot tall dolphin just sitting on the side corner, front corner of his desk for whatever reason. Anyways, he hangs up the phone. He's done. He's got a cigarette in his mouth, and then his lieutenant or sergeant, I don't know, whatever. The police officer that's kind of dumb with him goes to light a smoke for him, and the whole thing just blows up in his face. And I want to mention this scene. We see cop cars driving to the scene, and they're swerving all over the damn road. They're not staying in their own lane. They're swerving all over the place. But it's got this very Adam West Batman style look and feel and music style to it. It brings back the old Adam West Batman series, which I love so damn much. I think it's such a great Batman series. But then we also see, we cut to the grass area where the hole is, and we see the Schlock coming out of the hole, and he's just kind of looking around being like, I know there is probably some more kids around here somewhere, but don't know where they went to. I'm just gonna kind of hunch over here and just walk through the woods a little bit. And of course, with comedic timing, as soon as the Schlock walks off camera, we have the 2 officers showing up in their cop cars. There's 4 officers actually showing up. There's only 2 cop cars. And the Sergeant Wino is there, and he's just blowing a damn whistle the whole damn time as the officers are trying to set up this little police barricade around the hole, because they instantly knew where this hole was the whole time. Even though Billy was walking around, trying to call the banana killer out, and fell through the hole because he didn't see the damn thing. And now we see Putzman again at this same area. He's now doing a report. And apparently in the last 3 weeks alone, the Schlock has killed 700 and some people in this, just in this town alone in the last 3 weeks. It's how many people have got in this little town? Because I haven't even seen any buildings yet. But it doesn't look like it's a big town by any means. And then we see the doctor showing up because he's getting ready to go into the tunnel as well. Do some tests and take a look at some things to see what they're dealing with. And the doctor's car's got pictures of King Kong and gorillas all over it, to the point where there's a giant gorilla head on his driver's door window. To the point where it's so damn big, you couldn't even see him sitting in the car. And then while the doctor is talking, we cut over to Wino, who's I'm assuming it's Officer Gillis is the stupid officer that's always with him. Anyways, Gillis is completely 5 sheets off to the wind. He's not listening at all, to the point where he's making weird faces as he's trying to scratch his own ass. As the doctor is talking to Putzman, Putzman's like, so you're trying to tell me, doctor, that with all these tests that you've been doing lately and all these studies that you've been doing with the banana killer, you think that the banana killer is actually the missing link the whole time? And the doctor's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah. As the doctor's getting ready to go away, he opens up his car door to put a helmet on as he's doing his test. And it's apparently a special helmet, even though it's just the vent system. It's literally just an elbow piece from a furnace, essentially, that he just put on his head, or maybe a wood stove. It's a bigger piece, so it probably wouldn't be a wood stove, but it's essentially that kind of piece. And then we just see him getting put on the harness and lowered into the hole, even though the kids got out of that hole, no problem, no big deal. But apparently the good doctor here needs a whole harness system and to be lowered in gently. Then we see a crowd of people watching, because, of course, Putzman's there doing this news report and everything. There's a bunch of police there to, close off the area and whatnot. And Schlock just comes up behind the whole crowd of people and kind of pushes one guy out of the way, because he wants to see what's going on as well, because he has no idea what's going on. And the guy that gets pushed just looks at Schlock being like, just got pushed by a 6 foot tall monkey, but no big deal. And then one of the ladies in that crowd that's standing beside Schlock be like, why don't you get a haircut? Why don't you get a job, you homeless hippie? And then as Putzman's interviewing this lady who's apparently putting on the dance, she's also the one that won the body count contest. Anyway, Schlock just walks up between them, and they act like he's not even there at all. Just keep talking to each other and just act like he's not even just standing, literally, right beside them. So then Putzman has his little cue card that he's reading off what the nightly movie's going to be. And once he's done reading it off, he actually hands it to Schlock. And Schlock's looking at it and be like, oh, what's this paper? So he tries to eat it, and of course, he can't eat it. And then Putzman it's like, you know what? I think I'm going to try and interview some of the crowd around here now, guys. Is that a monkey suit? Is that a gorilla suit you're wearing? And then he finally realizes, it's like, oh, you're the missing link. Ha! Are you really the banana killer? And then at that point in time, Putzman goes to shake Schlock's hand, and his arm gets ripped right off, and we just see Putzman drop to the ground. And then everyone starts screaming and running away up the hill. Everyone runs away scared, and then we just see Schlock standing at his hole with the severed hand from Putzbin still in his grasp. And then Wino just walks right over to him, puts handcuffs on him, and puts him under arrest. And then Schlock looks down at his hand, and his one hand has the handcuff on it. And then the other part of the handcuff is actually handcuffed to Putzman's severed arm, so he just snaps it in half. And then Wino blows his whistle looking for backup. Nothing happens. So then Wino points up to like the hill, and Schlock looks that way. So then Wino just runs away screaming for his life. And then we just randomly have this lady who's in her house, and the doorbell goes off. So she goes over there and answers the door. Schlock just kicks the door in, and just starts kicking her and jumping on her, stomping on her. And then we just cut to the police station. And we cut back to Schlock inside that lady's house. He's just drinking a whole carton of milk. He's got this big giant chocolate cake, and he's just downing both of them at the same time. And then we cut to these construction workers that are digging a ditch or a pipeline or something. And then one guy's like, what do you think about that Schlock guy? He's like, probably nothing real, to be honest with you. Probably no banana killer. And the one construction workers guy's like, well, what do you think of that? And we see Schlock like crouched down behind him. So the guy gets scared and goes to him with the shovel, and the shovel just snaps. And then we just see the worker getting tossed around by the Schlock. So then we see the Schlock walking up to this kid's baseball game, and he steals the hat off of the one baseball player. And everyone goes running away screaming except for the guy that's at the batting stage. And Schlock just starts making sounds at him, and then the kid just sticks his tongue back out at him. So then Schlock breaks the baseball bat. So then it's just back and forth between the Schlock making sounds to the kid, sticking his tongue at him, to the point where the Schlock gets pissed off and goes and picks up the kid and chucks him, and he lands in a random pool somewhere. We see Schlock walking through, and he comes to this ice cream shop or this convenience store of some sort, and the astronaut music that you always hear for like any kind of space movie starts to play, and he's standing at the bottom of the stairs looking up at this spot that has a giant billboard of a banana on the side of the wall, and the music just keeps playing, and he's kind of crouching down being like, oh, it's the best banana ever. And then he has like this jawbone of something. He just snaps in half and throws it at the window of this store and breaks it and starts stealing all the bananas out of the store. Well, there's a guy sitting at a picnic table watching everything happen, and he's just staring at the Schlock being like, huh, never seen that before. And all these bananas that the Schlock just stole from the store, he carries them over to the guy at the picnic table, and this is all in slow motion as well, and just hucks them all at the guy's face. And he kind of stares off, and then the Schlock just runs away off into the woods. And then we see the lady that runs the dance. She's picking up Peggy, which is her blind daughter, from the hospital. She just had eye surgery a couple days ago, so hopefully she's going to be able to see for the first time in 2 years. Anyways, they let her up out of the wheelchair, and then Peggy just starts walking into the parked car because she doesn't know how to apparently get into the car or feel around for the door at all. She just keeps walking into it. Then we randomly cut to Detective Wino sitting at his desk, and the phone rings, and there's a lady on the phone. And she's like, Wino, do you still have that Prince Albert in the can? So he opens up his desk, and he does. He has the Prince Albert in the can. And the person on the phone is like, why don't you let him out then? Why is he still stuck in the can? And then Peggy's mom is like, you should go outside and get some fresh air, do you some good. So Peggy goes to go outside, just walks in the wall, no big deal. Doesn't know where she's going at all. She should definitely go outside and touch some grass. And of course, as she's outside sitting on the grass, smelling the grass, smelling some weeds and flowers and whatnot she finds, we see the Schlock slowly coming up over this giant fence. And he makes eye contact with her, and he starts to fall in love with her, of course. So then he goes over to her and sits down beside her, and she starts petting his head, being like, oh, hi, little doggy. I'm gonna call you Willie. You're a Willie, little doggy. You wanna go play, doggy? Come on, go fetch the stick, doggy. She keeps tossing a stick and making Willie, the Schlock, go get it. And the Schlock each time brings it back and forces it in her hand, be like, here, stop throwing the damn stick then, lady. And you can tell by each time she throws it, he gets a little bit more pissed off. Each time be like, would you stop throwing the damn stick? I don't want to go get it anymore. So one of the times that she throws the stick, the Schlock just looks and then starts rubbing the side of his head where his temple would be, being like, oh my god, this lady is so stupid. Why does she keep throwing the stick? So then we see Peggy is getting the wrap off her eyes, and there's doctors there, and he's taking out the wrap, and it's happening for a good couple minutes to the point where the next time we cut back to see her, we actually see there's a giant pile of wrap that definitely wouldn't have been on her face, but it's for comedic purposes. It just looks like they wrapped her like a there's enough wrapping on the floor at her feet. Probably wrapped her like a mummy, but apparently it was just on her face. So we see her in the backyard with her boyfriend. She's calling for Willie the dog, but of course Willie the dog's not really a dog. So then we see the Schlock looking at the fence, and he's like crouching over, like to look over the top of the fence. I guess not really crouching then. He's peeking over the top of the fence is what I really meant to say. And he's getting annoyed because he sees that the girl he likes has a boyfriend. So then he comes up behind her as the boyfriend goes to leave, and she starts freaking out screaming. And then the Schlock chases her and the boyfriend into the house, and then starts playing with one of the fake plants that's on a end table, and he tosses the end table around. Then the mom walks in and be like, oh, how nice to see you. Guys, is this one of your friends from school? Like, I've never seen this one before. And the kids just started freaking out, being like, no, not a friend. Not a friend at all. Stranger danger. Go get the gun. So then the mom comes back, and she doesn't have a gun. She has like a hammer or a monkey wrench and a flare. She hands the boyfriend the flare, and he lights the flare, and they are able to push the Schlock back into a random bedroom because apparently he's kind of scared of the flame of it. And then he's inside that room looking at various items inside the room. He finds glasses for the first time ever and tries to eat them. Of course, that doesn't work out. So then he puts them on while standing in front of a mirror and kind of like spooks himself by the looks of it. Then we see Wino and a couple officers showing up at the girl's house. And Wino puts on a gorilla mask, being like, alright guys, I'm going to go in there with this mask on. I'm going to lure him out and we're going to catch him. Alright guys, you know what we're going to do here? We're going to catch him. So Wino says, first there's going to be the whistle and then you guys fire, alright? So he goes to go in the house, but then turns right back around. And Gillis, his second in command, blows the whistle. So then all the other officers start shooting at him, and next thing you know, we just see his trench coat destroyed. Then Wino starts walking back to those officers, and they're just standing around whistling, looking around, be like, oh, I wonder what happened there. I don't know who we shot. And then the Schlock breaks down the door and starts running at them. He like knocks Wino down to the ground and throws a bunch of the other guys officers all around. And there's one officer that has like a shotgun. He goes to shoot at Schlock, but there's no more bullets in the gun. So then he just kind of, stands there whistling, and Schlock looks at the gun, looks at the barrel and everything, throws it around, and then the officer's just looking at his fingers whistling. So then Schlock makes him put his hands up, and then he licks his own finger to see where the direction of the wind is going. So then he picks up that officer and just chucks him. We see a bunch of people inside this like little movie theater, and they're getting ice cream out of this like little vending machine, and Schlock is watching them because he just randomly decided to walk into the movie theater, and he's not noticing that they're putting coins in because they just press a button and then this ice cream pops out. So he's been pressing the buttons trying to see if ice cream comes out, but nothing's coming out. So he starts getting all pissed off, and then he walks over to the front desk, and the lady's like, can I help you, sir, by chance? You need help? And she just starts giving him candy. So then he gets all pissed off. He's like, I want more candy. Give me more candy. So then he's grabbing all this candy, and he's trying to find a spot to put it, but he's a gorilla. So then he's just got a handful of candy and walks into a random movie theater where there's a dinosaur fighting another dinosaur and breathing fire all over the place. So then Schlock just throws his candy all over the place and starts covering up his eyes because he's terrified now. It takes him a few minutes, and then he notices that everyone's sitting down watching this and nobody else is scared. So then he's looking around being like, oh, there's an empty seat over there. I'm just going to scoot through everyone and just sit down beside this old guy and this kid and watch the movie with everyone else. So then where the Schlock is sitting, there's one empty seat in front of him, and of course this lady sits down in front of him, and she's got this big sun hat on. So then he starts poking her and points at the hat. So she takes off the hat, and then she's got this big giant poofy hair underneath said hat. So then he just grabs the hair and pulls it off because apparently it was a wig, and she starts screaming and getting pissed off at the Schlock. But then people in the theater are like, lady, shut up, go, leave. You're wrecking the movie. And randomly, the little kid that's sitting beside Schlock starts talking to him. And then next thing we know, we see the Schlock is taking the kid to the washroom because he's too scared to go to the washroom by himself. Even though, it's not his kid by any means. We see the Schlock is still in the theater watching the movie. And he's watching the Blob. And as the Blob starts taking over a building, the Schlock just starts covering his face and being all scared. Being like, oh no, I don't want to see everyone die. The Schlock gets all pissed off, leaves the movie theater, breaks down a couple doors, and goes out in the middle of the road. And then this red car almost runs him over, and the guy's like just screeches right in front of him and stops. And he's like, "You moron, why don't you walk where you're going?" And Schlock kind of just looks at me like, yeah, my fault. So then he rips off the guy's door, pulls him out of the car, pulls out the seat of the car, puts it on the pavement, and makes the guy sit on it and be like, "Here, just watch this. And he rips off the front bumper and starts destroying the guy's car. For good measure, because the Schlock is all pissed off, he pulls out the guy's battery and literally chucks it right through the windshield, being like, yeah, that's for almost running me over, you asshole." We see this like ice cream cake shop, and we see a bunch of people running out of it, screaming for their lives. There's way too many people in this store. It's an absurd amount of people that run out of this store. Anyways, we see all the workers run out too, and the next thing you know, you just see Schlock walking out with a cake in hand, sits down on the sidewalk and starts eating it, and then two girls or little kids in matching dresses sit down beside him and start eating the cake too. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll share a cake with you guys." So then we cut to this random bar. There's two people. There's the bartender, and then there's a guy sitting at the bar. The guy sitting at the bar is blind. And the bartender's like, "Hey, I'm going to go over such and such place to have a couple of drinks. Do you want to come with me, or do you want to sit at the piano here by yourself?" And the guy's like, "Well, I want to sit at the piano." So the bartender helps him over to the piano. He starts playing the piano after the bartender's leaving. And then next thing you know, we see Schlock coming in. And he's standing on another stool beside the piano and starts hitting the keys of the piano. And the guy's like, hey, come on, you guys sit down. And then he's like, "Here, you just press this one key." So Schlock starts pressing the one key. And then next thing you know, the two guys, well, Schlock and the guy, are now playing the piano together. And then the bartender comes back, he's peeking in the window. I don't know why he's peeking in the window, but he sees the Schlock is there. So then he calls Sergeant Wino. And next thing you know, we see the officer showing up, but it's kind of like a comedic police chase kind of style music. So then we see this older couple in a car making out with each other. And the lady's like, "Hey, Ernie, you gotta watch your hand." He's like, "Come on, I spent a lot of money. I spent $6.50 on dinner tonight. Joyce, you better let me touch what I want to touch, right?" So then Joyce gets pissed off and starts walking away. So then Ernie gets pissed off and starts to drive away. But little does Ernie know that the Schlock somehow sneaked into the back of his car and has been hanging out the window the whole time. And then Ernie goes to fix his rear view mirror, and next thing you know, we see the Schlock starting to pretty much choke him out, and the car going off the road, crashing into a stop sign, and then crashing it in for a field, which then it ends up crashing into a tree and flipping over. But our old buddy the Schlock just gets out of the car like nothing happened, just walks away. Then we cut to the dance, and we see an officer outside. He's tying a shoe because there's 4 cops there that are, keep an eye on the dance to make sure that the Schlock doesn't get in to kill anyone. And we see one officer, as he's tying his shoes, he just gets tossed across the parking lot. And then Schlock goes back up and picks him up and just smacks him across the ground a little bit. And then he just goes across and just starts killing off each officer, just, throwing them around like they're nothing. And then we see the Schlock. He's now inside the school. He's now on the upper level of the gym area. And he sees Peggy, or where the blind lady was. And he goes apeshit and starts tormenting the whole place. And then he starts beating up a couple kids, throwing them around like nothing, stomping on them, jumping on them, clotheslining them, punching them, doing whatever he pretty much feels like doing. Then we see the Schlock make eye contact with her. The music changes. It's kind of like a slow dance song now. But everything else goes quiet, and he gets closer and closer to her. She passes out, so then he carries her off into the darkness. Also, apparently her name is Mindy. I think I've been calling her Peggy or Pindy or something the whole time. It's not important by any means. Schlock is the main character. Anyway, so then we see the army guard showing up, and about like 52 looking soldiers get out of this one single car. It's not really 52 soldiers. It's probably like 15 soldiers get out of the same car, but it's like the whole clown car aspect. Then we see Mindy's boyfriend talking to Wino, and the army guys over there too. And Wino's like, son, we don't even know where Schlock is. We don't even know where to find him. And then a bunch of bananas just get thrown on top of him, and they look up on the roof of the school, and there he is holding Mindy. It's like, oh, okay, so he's apparently up there. So Mindy's boyfriend realizes that the one thing that the Schlock was scared of was flares. So for whatever reason, he thinks it's a good idea to throw a bunch of flares up at the Schlock as he's holding Mindy on the edge of the roof. And the Schlock actually does let her go and drops her, and luckily the boyfriend's there to catch her. But now once we see her on the ground, she's now finally awoken again, and then we see the Schlock jump down, and we hear just a bunch of gunshots because the army guys and the officers are all just shooting at the Schlock. And then all the gunshots end, and Wino's like, alright man, reload. And the Schlock's just looking around, feeling his body, being like, you guys missed every single shot. So then he gets closer and closer to the army guys and the officers, and they all start shooting again. So he's just kind of like covering up, being like, oh, they're probably going to miss me again, most likely. So then it looks like they missed him again completely, because he's got no bullet holes in him by any means. Unless, budget reasons they couldn't do it. But he starts walking closer to them, and he's like, you know what, screw it, just throws his hands down and goes down to his knees, and we can see that he's crying, reaching out for Mindy, and they're making eye contact at each other, but she just, turns away from him. So he's like, oh, alright, then I'll just be over dramatic and pretend I'm dying. Then we see the Schlock face down on the ground, and all the guards are looking at him. The main guards looking at him, and Wino's looking at him, and Gillis. And the main army guy's like, looks like the guns finally got him. And Gillis like, no, it was not the guns. It was the beauty that got the beast. The broken heart of the beauty is what killed the beast. And Wino just looks up at Gillis being like, what's wrong with you? And then we have that astronaut music happening again. And then we see the hole again where the Schlock came out of. We see a banana peel getting thrown up. And it's actually the scientist coming out of the hole. And he's holding something wrapped up. And we see there's a baby Schlock inside. And then it just pops up on the screen, son of Schlock. And that's the end of the movie. I gotta say, for a first time watch, I enjoy this movie a lot. It's very funny and very enjoyable, and John Landis does a great job. The Schlock suit is pretty cool, and the fact that you see this full body suit the whole damn time. There's no cutaways, there's no changing things up. He was in the suit the whole damn time, and you see it throughout the whole movie. And he's not just in it for a couple minutes, he's in it for the whole movie. And I just think it's great. On the rotten scale of 10, I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10 because I just enjoyed it a lot. And I would definitely watch it again in the near future because I just enjoyed it that much. And hopefully you guys did as well. Which brings us to the point in time where we got to pick what we're going to be watching next week. Alright, so for next week, we're going to watch another first time watch. This one's from 1996. It's got an hour and 23 minute runtime. It's a horror fantasy mystery movie. And this one is Head of the Family. You can watch it for free on Dubby, so definitely go check it out there if you don't want to be spoiled on that movie next week. And until then, make sure you guys check out the outro band, Toronto-based horror band Blood Opera. All their links are down below, but you can find them on any music app. Go check them out on Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever. All their links are down below, like I said. Go give them a follow. Go listen to some of their tunes. Like some of their music. Share it. All that other fun stuff. And as always, you can find me on all social media accounts at Typhonstein. Links are down below as well in the description. But the main thing that we're on is Instagram, Facebook. We have X, Threads, all that other fun stuff. But the main thing is definitely go check out the YouTube channel. We got the weekly game video dropping every single Wednesday. Got various short videos over there as well.
And we do the occasional live stream on YouTube as well as Twitch. So definitely go follow those. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
I am the whisper in the classroom, the writing on the wall. What's blood for if not for shedding?
You used to play that childhood game, didn't you? The one where we chant his name. Was it true? Staring in the mirror, I can say, come to me. I can hear him calling back to me. Be my victim, Candyman. When I say his name again, and then he will appear. My whole world disappear. Candyman, Candyman. Was it for real this time, or a dream? Was it